Hello Rebels and welcome back to my life. Researching today's video was the most fun I've had in a while, and it's the coolest thing I've ever talked about on YouTube. I want to give a huge thank you to Simon Canton, a viewer and fellow indie author who actually told me about this in the first place. There's a link to his Amazon page in the description. Ancient cultures didn't see blue. I know that sounds crazy, and it is, and yet somehow, apparently, it is still true. Apparently, sometime in the 1850s, a scholar named William Gladstone realized that as he was reading the Odyssey, Homer always described the sea as wine dark, but never blue. So he did a lot more research on color descriptions in the Odyssey and found out they were all super weird. Like, iron and sheep are described as violet, and honey is described as green. I don't know about Homer, but if I saw green honey, I would not eat it. So Gladstone went through the entire Odyssey again, and he counted every color reference in the book. Now, white and black were mentioned a lot, and red was mentioned a decent amount. You know, there's a lot of wine and blood in the Odyssey. But the other colors were, like, hardly mentioned at all, and when they were always attached to nouns that, like, we would not associate with them. Later, a philologist named Lazarus Geiger, no relation to the Geiger counter, followed up on this research and studied a ton of ancient writings from ancient cultures and found that none of them had a word for blue. I don't know if this is coming through or not, but I just think this is the coolest and weirdest thing ever. Like, the Vedic hymns talk a whole lot about the sky and the burning red of dawn and all these other things, but if you read them, you would not know that the sky is blue. The Egyptians were the only ancient culture to have a word for the color blue, and interestingly, they were also the only ancient culture to have the ability to create blue dyes for clothing. One slightly more contemporary researcher named Guy Duscher, I think, did an experiment where he raised his daughter without ever telling her that the sky was blue. And then one day he finally asked her what color the sky was, and she looked up at it and she said, I don't know. She didn't know. She knew what blue was, and she'd of course been looking at the sky her whole life, but she had never connected the two things. After he brought it up, she eventually decided it was white, and then later decided that it was blue. But before he'd asked her, she had no reference for it. She had never assigned a color to that thing that was the entire sky. And Duscher had discovered something amazing, that without being told what color it was, children don't automatically figure out that the sky is blue. This was further looked into when a researcher named Jules Davidoff tested several members of a Namibian tribe named the Himba by showing them a circle of squares, all of which were green except for one, which was blue. When asked which square looked different from the others, they couldn't tell him. Some members got it right, but way more got it wrong than, like, we would consider normal. But when he showed them this circle of squares and asked them which one looked different, they all got it right. And I'll bet you can't tell which one is different. I certainly couldn't. It's this one. It's like 2 shades lighter than the other ones. So I've wondered my whole life if different people see colors in different ways. Like, maybe what I see when I look at a healthy green apple is what another person sees when they look at a brilliant red tomato. And just like that, I'm hungry. And all this research kind of shows that that's actually true in a way. When humans don't know what a color is, they don't see it. And I think it is both frightening and amazingly awesome and beautiful that there are still so many universal truths and commonalities that all humans share when we can't even agree what color the sky is. That's it for today, Rebels. I want to give a special shout out to my supporters on Patreon who make this YouTube channel possible. If you want to be one of those awesome and incredibly attractive people, or to get signed copies of my books, there are links in the description to both of those things. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!